community needs. And I would be honored to live in a community that you guys have designed. So thank you so much for inviting me up here.
So just to that point, it is kind of like a university class. When we designed this program, we didn't design it so that it would be easy, right? Because you all know it was quite a tough 4 days, and you learned a tremendous amount about urban planning, and you've learned a lot about architecture, and you've learned a lot about sustainable design. And the reason why we're doing this, I'll tell you why we're doing this, is because you're the generation that's going to be handed some of the complicated issues related to climate change. And it's a design problem, because climate change is coming. And there are ways to design for it, and there are ways to ignore it. Currently, a lot of what we're doing is ignoring the situation. But your generation and the generation after you will be forced to address it. And some of the ideas here you can bring with you, whether you become an architect, whether you become a developer, whether you become a store owner or build a store, whether you become involved in urban planning or transportation, whether you go into design a children's play area, or you just you hear about a children's play area being designed in your community and you want to go and listen and give your input. You now have a base knowledge to be informed. And I go back to the point that everything is designed, and you are part of this neighborhood, and there are people that represent you, mostly your counselor at City Hall. Their job is to listen to the people that voted for them, and even the people that didn't vote for them. Their job is to respond to your interests. So if you want to improve a park, you can do that. What it takes is a lot of hard work. It takes joining together. It takes building momentum. It takes a strategy. Maybe there's a fundraising strategy. I want to do a new bench, or I want to do a new play area in this park. You rally your friends. You get people to sign a petition. You come up with an idea, maybe fundraising. Maybe you're selling chocolate bars. Maybe you get a sponsor. Maybe Home Depot wants to be your sponsor. You take that petition to you get your school involved. You take that and you go to your counselor and you say, look at all the hard work we've done. We want this. Can you please help us? That's how it works. That's how a community from the ground up gets built. Right now, I think, certainly before I went to architecture school, when I walked down the street, I thought, oh, that is just all existing. I don't know how it got there, and nor do I really care, because how am I to have any influence on it? The answer is that you live in this community. You can play a role in how it's built. You can look at things now and say, that wasn't done very well. Or look at things and say, that is amazing. I love that. So with that, we hope that you'll go forward. And whether you go, if you're interested in architecture or urban planning, I would suggest thinking about geography, because that's a good entry into architecture or urban planning. Art is a good entry into design and architecture. If you're interested in the science and engineering, you can think about building bridges, structural things. I mean, I remember there's a truss, the truss system. It's a simple system, but it's a very strong way to construct things so that they stand up. I think the imagination that you've shown here is excellent. I mean, we're doing 44 schools, and this is at the very top of what I've seen. The integration, you all learned how to work with each other?
Yeah.
How was that?
A
Is that
lot
fun?
of integration.
Tough, right?
Collaboration.
Collaboration is tough. Don't let anybody tell you it's not tough, because you have to communicate, and it's not just your idea. When you get out into the real world, you'll find out that you have to learn to negotiate, collaborate. You're going to have to give up a little bit to get something, and that's how the real world works. And then there's politics on top of that. So I want to give you a big hand of applause, and I'd like to give a hand of applause to Elizabeth and Tiffany
And David.
and David and Tanya for coming in. These are our architect volunteers.